Panaca Project presents the Inca Empire, historical summary of the origin and succession of the sovereigns of the empire and its most important events, the 13 Incas who ruled and the usurper who destroyed. Manco Cápac, the first Inca, whose name means Great Lord, was the founder of the Tahuantinsuyo and, according to legend and tradition, was born with his sister and wife Magmaoyo on the island of Lake Titicaca, after being sent by his father, the sun, to establish the empire where the golden rod they carried was buried, the same one that ended up sinking in the Guanacaure Hill in Cusco. After this, Manco Cápac instructed men in architecture, agriculture, religion, and obedience to the laws, while Magmaoyo taught the women in weaving and in organizing and administering a family. Manco Cápac, in order to govern the rising empire, designated chiefs, caciques, and curacas, and also established the cult of the sun, for which he planned rites and sacrifices in his honor. Sinchiroca, the second Inca. He was the firstborn of Manco Cápac. His name meant strong rock, an appropriate name for him because his physical prowess surpassed all of his time. He expanded his father's lands without using weapons or violence, only with his ability to persuade. Sinchiroca lived peacefully and was loved by all his subjects until his passing. Yupanqui, the third Inca. He was the son of Sinchiroca. He was called Yoke for being left-handed, and Yupanqui due to his virtues and achievements. Yupanqui managed to incorporate all the lost chiefs into his government without resorting to violence, as the people were already aware of the power of the Inca army. However, upon reaching the village called Ayaviri, he encountered an armed group seeking to repel his sovereignty intentions. Eventually, unable to resist any longer, they surrendered with resignation, and the Inca received them with mercy and kindness, granting them forgiveness for this the nation's resistance. Also, he built a fortress called Pucará to preserve and defend his conquest. Maita Cápac, fourth Inca. He was Yupanqui's firstborn, and he crossed the Titicaca with his army in rafts and entered the province of Tiahuanaco, which he conquered without difficulty. Seeking to expand the empire to the west, he ordered the construction of a bridge across the Great Apurimac River, which was made of lianas woven into braids and was the largest bridge in the entire empire. On the way to Cumpivilca, he found a formidable swamp that prevented him from passing. So he ordered to build a roadway of stone and sod, placing himself the stones of the construction to give the example and encouragement to his subjects. Cápac Yupanqui, fifth Inca. He was the firstborn of Maita Cápac. He built a second bridge over the Apurimac River, bigger than the other one made by his father, as well as a floating bridge of straw in the Titicaca's lake, those that allowed to extend their limits for the north and the south of the empire. He designated his brother Auquitito to continue with the conquest, such as Cotapampa and Cotanera by the north, which were submitted looking for protection against the Chancas that hostilized them, and Cochapampa and Chayanta by the south, that were submitted to the Inca by the justice of their laws. Inca Roca, sixth Inca. He was called Prince Brother. He was the heir of Maita Cápac, and already before receiving the Mascaipacha, he had assured to the empire the conquest of several provinces, for which he organized two expeditions. The first was by the Chinchaysuyo, attracting the obedience of some Chanca provinces, the same one that submitted only for not having sufficient force for a confrontation. In the second, he went to the east of Cusco, conquering diverse towns of the east, and in effect, he expanded the empire in its 4 cardinal points. Inca Roca also built the Yachayhuasis, that were a school for young nobles, and it is suggested that he ruled for 50 years. Yaguarhuaca, 7th Inca. He was Inca Roca's firstborn. He was called this way because it is said that he cried blood when being born, fact that attracts diverse superstitions and auguries in such a negative way that filled him of fears, to the point of entrusting their brother Inca Maita the direction of the army with the order to continue with the conquest and the expansion of the empire. He was taken prisoner, and later he was murdered by the Kundis, fact that showed the weakness of the power, inciting the other towns to rebel against them. Viracocha Inca, 8th Inca. He was not a son of Yaguarhuaca, but he was designated to be his heir because he belonged to the same Hanan dynasty. The legend tells that he took the name of the god Viracocha because he assured that this divinity had appeared to him while he was grazing the sun god's cattle. During his government, the Chancas sent emissaries to ask him for his surrender and the delivery of Cusco, to which the Inca responded by abandoning the city in company of the Auquio prince Inca Urco, which generated uncertainty and grief in the Cusco population. The defense of the city was then assumed by another son of Viracocha, called Cusi Yupanqui, who managed to defeat the Chancas and expel them from his father's territory. Due to this victory, he was named Inca, and he was weird with the Mascai Pacha, under the name of Pachacutec, being acclaimed by all the light towns. Pachacutec, 9th Inca, whose name means Inca Transformer of the Earth. During his government, he achieved a remarkable expansion of these domains and built great constructions that last until today, such as the majestic Machupicchu and Sacsayhuamán. Several chronicles identify him as a great administrator, planner, philosopher, and great general of armies. He is considered the initiator of an era of change in Inca society. Inca Yupanqui, 10th Inca. Known as Pious, he was the firstborn and heir of Pachacutec. Being still a now clear prince, he conquered the powerful Chimú civilization, the same one that offered brave resistance, but it could not resist the strategy of Inca Yupanqui, who ordered to deviate the channel of the river Moche, raising and stocking the citadel of Chan Chan, causing fear and confusion in their population. Already as an Inca, he continued with the expansionist policy of his predecessors, conquering the southern provinces up to the Maule River in present-day Chile. It was during his voyage of conquest that he became aware of some distant islands that he decided to conquer, preparing a fleet of rafts and setting sail with at least 20,000 men, arriving first at Nichumbi Island and then at Aguachumbi Island. Current academics recognize this island as belonging to Polynesia, as their inhabitants to the legend of a man named Inca that arrived from overseas. Inca Yupanqui returned from these expeditions 2 years later, accompanied by natives, bear saddles, skins, and horses' jaws, which were preserved in the fortress of Sacsayhuamán. Inca Yupanqui divided Tahuantinsuyo into 4 regions: Chinchaysuyo, Antisuyo, Collasuyo, and Contisuyo, for better management and government. Inca Tupac Yupanqui, 11th Inca, whose name means the one who shines or the one who glows. Tupac Yupanqui conquered the great town of Chachapoyas, famous for being fierce and brave. In the north, he invaded the Cañaris people, subduing the Quito king and building the fortress of Quinche in Quito, present-day Ecuador. He died in Cusco, apparently poisoned by one of his wives for not choosing the son he had with her, Kapa, as a successor. Inca Huayna Capac, 12th Inca, whose name means Lake of Blood, was the youngest son of Inca Tupac Yupanqui and succeeded him into the government. During his mandate, he had to placate several rebellions, being the bloodiest the one of Carengue, where he ordered to seize the throats of the revolting traitors on the banks of the Lagoon Yaguargocha, or River of Blood, event that originated its name. Huayna Capac continued with his search for new lands, and while in Quito, he received the first news of the arrival of white men from overseas, the Spaniards, a situation that was explained as a fulfillment of one of the prophecies of the god Viracocha. In Tumibamba, Ecuador, he takes as one of his wives the daughter of the chief of the Quitus, Pacha Duchisela, with whom he would beget Atahualpa, the same one that year later would usurp the power of his brother Wasar, son of the royal Coya. Huayna Capac dies infected of a strange disease, possibly the smallpox brought by the Spaniards, the same one that also took to the death his son, the Auki heir Ninankuyochi, reason why the royal Panaca had to choose the successor among the other legitimate children of the sovereign, being selected Inti Cusihualpa, called later Huáscar. Huáscar Inca. He succeeded his father as the 13th and last Inca of the Tahuantinsuyo Empire, and although his childhood name meant son of joy, he was renamed Huáscar due to the extraordinary gold chain that his father had made for his haircut ceremony, which is said to be as long as 12 steps. Huáscar was recognized as the 13th Inca and his brother of father, Atahualpa, as vice-governor of his native town Quito, causing the envy and greed of Atahualpa, who also concentrated a great military power, which turned him into a constant threat for Huáscar. A 5-year tense peace kept both brothers away from the weapons. However, after that time, Atahualpa, with the excuse of rendering funeral honors to his father, introduced in the city of Cusco a great army, surprising Huáscar, who could not repel the attack, being captured and humiliated by the forces of Atahualpa until his death, ordered by this one when he was also imprisoned by Pizarro in Cajamarca. Atahualpa. He was the son of Huayna Capac and concubine, daughter of the chief Quito. He conspired against Huáscar Inca, becoming tyrant and usurper of the empire. Being vice-governor of Quito, and knowing that he was more skilled militarily than Huáscar, he attacked Cusco, sending an army led by his experienced and loyal captains, Chalcuchilma and Quisquis, to take Huáscar prisoner and usurp the government of the Inca Empire. After the capture of Huáscar, he ordered to give death to all the children of real blood of Huayna Capac, the same ones that could hinder their ascent to the power, keeping Huáscar with life so that he witnesses the murder of all their family and the cruelty with the one of their orders were executed. Meanwhile, he remained in Cajamarca, waiting for their orders to be fulfilled to go to Cusco and to finally take the Mascay Pacha with what will become the 14th Inca of the Empire of the Tahuantinsuyo. However, he could not achieve this goal due to the arrival of the Spaniard Francisco Pizarro, who took him prisoner in Cajamarca, beginning with the Spanish invasion in the middle of an unstable empire that was beginning in decadence. Atahualpa, fearing a possible alliance between the Spaniards and Huáscar, still imprisoned in Cusco, ordered his execution, and his remains were thrown in the Llana-Mayo River. The end of Atahualpa was not very far from this action, since after promising a millionary ransom to his Spanish captors, he was condemned to die by the garrote, accused, among other things, of having ordered the death of his brother Huáscar. In this way, the greed and ambition of Atahualpa, who was never officially recognized as an Inca because he was not invested with the Mascay Pacha, caused the destruction and the end of the Inca Empire. We are Panaka Project, and we invite you to subscribe and to visit our website. Follow us on our social media and share our story.